Yeah, when are you going to stop blighting the environment with this atrocity? My God, can't you see that it wants to die? Let it go.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So apparently, Doomcock has posted about a rumor and a leak coming out of Marvel that I think has some bearing on what we talk about here at Smuggler's Cantina, and it is that the movie Doomsday is going to erase everything after Endgame. Okay, why? Because none of the movies worked. It was mostly a failure, and people just didn't like what they were seeing. So it's gonna basically be a reboot of the franchise. In a way, probably that's a proper move, I would say. So why are we talking about this? Well, who started the Marvel Universe? Jon Favreau with Iron Man. And it's one of the few Marvel movies I actually have in my collection, because I don't, you guys know I do not like Marvel comics in general, and the movies in particular just look stupid to me and childish, I think. But Iron Man was a good movie, and Jon Favreau was one that started it. Now he is heading Lucasfilm, that is as far as what Sparrow has said. And the rumor has been for a long time that they were going to use the World Between Worlds to reboot the timeline and erase the sequel trilogy and just the garbage that came after George sold Lucasfilm to Disney. And if they're talking like this about Marvel now, and we've been speculating that it's going to happen with Lucasfilm, I would say, yeah, it is. There isn't anything redeeming about keeping the sequel trilogy in the timeline because no one likes it. There's too many people, running around screaming Star Wars is dead, blah, blah, blah. They won't have a narrative if this goes away, right? And I think the era now, the time is right to start doing something like that. But where do they start? Well, we've got Ahsoka season 1. Anakin Skywalker shows up on in the World Between Worlds, helping Ahsoka with her final lesson. And at the end of the show, he's standing as a Force ghost watching her walk away with Sabine on Peridia, which is, that planet that was supposed to be a mythology, and really it was real. So what is the plan? Well, the plan is, in my opinion, is we've got Anakin's as the father, taking over the father's place, Ahsoka being followed by the daughter's paraclete, the owl, Morai, and we've got Baylan Skull, who's standing on that monolith kind of statue looking out across this valley, and there's a beam of light coming up out of the mountain that he's looking at. And that is when, if you watched the World Between or the Mortis arc, That's the first thing Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka see is the beam of light coming up out of the monastery the father lives in. So what is going on here? What I think is we're probably either going to get introduced to the son of Mortis or his mother, Aboleth. And Aboleth is the greatest force of chaos the galaxy knows. And we know her story. I'm not going to go and repeat it again. But is she loose? Is this why this is all happening? Again, we're talking out loud, at least Doomcock is, about erasing the Marvels, erasing Shang-Chi, erasing Thunderbolts, etc., and resetting the Marvel Universe through Doomsday. Why wouldn't they do that with Ahsoka? Let's talk more because it's fascinating.
This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen. With the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place. This message is a warning and a reminder for any surviving Jedi. Trust in the Force. Do not return to the temple. That time has passed. And our future is uncertain. We will each be challenged. Our trust, our faith, our friendships. But we must persevere. And in time, a new hope will emerge. May the Force be with you, always.
So, if you think about it, this is the natural outcome of, 10 years of failure, or over 10 years of failure for Kathleen Kennedy, at least in one franchise Lucasfilm owns, which is Star Wars. It's the biggest one. And erasing the sequel trilogy, erasing all the really bad crap that was created during her timeline or tenure as president is the only thing they can do that makes sense. It really is. Now, I know there's going to be people arguing with me, Tom Connors, that genius Gary Beekler, etc., they're all going to be complaining that no, it has something to do with money and blah, blah. Of course it does. That's why Jon Favreau and Sean Levy have to go and secure more money to finish post-production on Starfighter. Okay? All right? I think they're done with principal photography, by the way. That's how fast a turnaround they wanted to do or they did, and it's like, okay, fine. It's just, one of these things where you're like, why wouldn't they reboot it and revisit this era and fix what was broken by erasing the bad? Because they didn't earn any money to begin with, right? And they're not throwing good money after bad. They would be doing that if Kennedy was still president. But honestly, when I think about her, I think about the fact that we haven't heard anything from her in a long time, ever, since February, when she had her insane, crazy interview. And, then she shows up at Star Wars Celebration and only spent like an hour there and left. So, it's time to move on. And I already think they have moved on because actually, there isn't any mention of this, of the sequels at Disney as far as like that video presentation, Shadows of Legacy or whatever they called it. Luke was running around the park. They're moving on. They're moving back to what works. Okay. And it's going to be changed through Ahsoka, not Mandalorian and Grogu. I think that's going to be a hint or two. Maybe we'll actually see Ahsoka in it. I don't know. I reported that they're doing pickups now, which is technically reshoots, right? But it's not. And the rumor going around Lucasfilm offices is that Gina is back and she's going to be working on those those pickups. Because there's time. We have until next May for that movie to come out, and but Ahsoka season 2 is going to be the linchpin to change the timeline, because it is time to move on from the woke, from the garbage, from all of this crap, right? And they're openly talking about it for Marvel. And now we've been openly talking about it for Star Wars, that Ahsoka will probably erase the sequel trilogy or start the erasing. So I wanted to just put this out there because, the whole Marvel Doomsday issue kind of inspired me. But anyway, you guys have a good afternoon. If anything happens, I'll be back. I'll see you around the galaxy.